Our rundown of every single Disney animated classic ever continues today, so grab your glass slipper and find an army of rats for today's episode of that song from that movie.
Lisa?
Thank you for joining that song from that movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your wash the dishes, do the mopping host, Dietrich, and as always, he's here by royal command, Alex.
Which royal? And please don't say Prince Andrew.
Best left ignoring that one. And he's been avoiding his responsibilities long enough. I think it's high time he married and settled down. Ben.
Done. Tick. Next.
Just one tick.
Yeah, although I was feeling quite triggered when you were talking about owning up to my responsibilities. It was, my heart started beating a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's not a quote from the film, that's a quote from your dad.
Nice.
I was just thinking camera pans to like a load of laundry that's just like stewing in Ben's basement, just like slowly browning.
That he had to move off the chair he's currently sat on.
You don't know how right you are.
Okay, what have we been watching this week?
What have I been watching? I watched. You know what I did watch?
Every week, Alex.
You know what I did watch? I watched that film, Ben, that you recommended to me. That anime film.
Oh yeah, Your Name.
Yeah, interesting film.
It's very It's very, yeah. Well, like I said, I quite like it, but it's very.
I really enjoyed it. It took a long time for me to kind of really get into what was going. Because
you mean once the narrative got slightly more interesting than the bog standard obvious.
Yeah, but also the opening credits has to be like the weirdest opening to a film I think I've ever seen in my life. But I don't know if this was just. I felt like it was kind of my like Western attitude to films like being tested.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, is this maybe this is just how films are in Japan? Is it Japanese? I'm assuming it was Japanese.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like dance numbers, just like musical numbers, just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, is this my prejudice? But then you kind of get into probably. You also kind of get into the rhythm of it, don't you? And I think like when you do that, it becomes like a really good film. And like, by the end, it's like,
I'm really glad you liked
it. I think it does it hits you on an emotional level towards the end, definitely.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Good film. I would recommend. It's on Netflix.
I watched Training Day because I'd never seen it before. It was a really good film. It's always been a DVD on my shelf. My dad had it when I was a kid, and I just never was interested. I heard rave reviews for years. Finally watched it. It's a really good film. Really good film. Denzel Washington's quite scary. He can be like that if he wants.
The only film I've watched is the first half of Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League.
Yeah, I've already watched that.
I saw the original, and so far it has been better than that version.
I just don't agree with the more footage you put in, the better film you make. It's a flawed logic. You can't just keep adding more and saying, well, this answers all the narrative problems. Films have been able to do it in 2 hours. Marvel can do it in 2 hours. You can do it in 2 hours. Stop making it 4 hours to make sense.
But isn't this version in black and white?
Well, you can watch it in black and white.
Oh, right. So...
I opted not to pick that version.
I hate this weird trend of films. You can watch Parasite in black and white. You can watch Logan in black and white.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Why? Why would you want to watch them in black and white?
Cinematography.
Casablanca.
Casablanca. No, you can watch that in colour now.
You can watch it in colour.
Oh, can you actually?
I saw It's a Wonderful Life in colour, and it upset me.
Wow.
Not the normal reasons it should upset me.
Okay, so today we are taking the next glass slipper covered step on our Disney marathon. We are discussing Cinderella. So Ben?
Time for some history.
It's time for some history.
Yes, it is time for some history. So we're going back to February 1950. Thank God World War II is over. There's probably never going to be another war again. Anyway, George Kelly is sentenced to hang for the murder of the Cameo cinema manager in Liverpool in what is still the longest trial in British history. You ever heard of this, Alex? Doing law at some point in your life?
No, I haven't actually. He killed a cinema owner in Liverpool.
Yeah, murder of the Cameo cinema manager and his assistant. So I think it was a robbery and then he shot both of them.
Right. Apparently
it's the longest trial ever, mainly because all the informants were pimps and prostitutes who all had something to gain from the conviction. So apparently the man was hanged, obviously George Kelly, and apparently he was quite likely the innocent man. but just all these other, I guess, pimps and prostitutes wanted him dead. And I think it was going on for like 40 years, something like that, just kept being open. In other news, the credit card is used for the first time. And Major Cabin's Grill in the Empire State Building, which journalists called the First Supper, which you think is quite clever until you realise they bought lunch. That's where you've got the joke already in your head, and then you realise, you know what, just too late, let's go with it.
On a slight tangent here, whenever I used to hear, like, the Last Supper, I used to think of supper like it means in the UK. So I was thinking, why would Jesus get all his friends around and have like
cereal,
some toast on a Sunday evening?
A bowl of cereal.
I'm glad yours is your supper cereal, Alex, because mine was too.
Well, breakfast items, basically.
Yeah. Breakfast before bed.
And in completely light news, only Buckinghamshire in England and liberal Kansas over in the States competed in the first ever international pancake race. I'm assuming they were eating them. I've not checked this. But the two towns have competed in this every year on Shrove Tuesday to this day.
Wait, you don't know what a pancake race is?
No, what's a pancake race?
You have a frying pan and a pancake and you run and flip at the same time.
So I was going to say, is it a bit like an egg and spoon race type situation?
Yeah.
Is it like a relay? Do you have to like pass the pan on to the next person?
All the way from
or flip the
Buckinghamshire
pancake? Do you have to flip the pancake to the next person?
That's how it should be, yeah.
It clearly needs an update after the last 70 years. But in more appropriate news to this, Cinderella came out, which is apparently believed to be a Disney classic.
Well, it's older than 20 years old.
It's older than 20 years old. It passes the Ben Carroll test.
The Ben Carroll test.
So yeah, Cinderella is based on the Charles Perrault story. So, with a wicked stepmother and two jealous stepsisters who keep her enslaved, Cinderella stands no chance of attending the royal ball. Boo-hoo. However, when her fairy godmother appears and magically transforms her reality into a dream come true, Cinderella enchants the handsome Prince Charming at the ball, but must face the wrath of her enraged stepmother and sisters when the spell wears off at midnight. So, what do we think on this one?
So for me, I think this is somewhat of a return to form for Disney.
Okay.
That's not to say that Bambi wasn't good, because we all did say it was sort of okay, and it was an attempt at doing something slightly different. But Cinderella is much more in the vein of Snow White. You've got your perfect lead character. You've got a matriarch who's jealous of the...
So jelly?
She's not ready for this jelly.
A matriarch who's jealous of the lead character's beauty. You've got Prince Charming. You've got animal helpers. Incredibly white teeth.
Oh god, the teeth in this. When did they learn to do teeth?
Just get a white Tipex pen and put it on every single cell.
Or just add some black lines in between.
So I think for me personally, I like this because it feels more like a true Disney film. It has all the tropes of a Disney film, and that's when I'm sitting down to watch a Disney film, that's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really been one of my favourite ones, I'll be honest. But I think like if you say like list like classic vintage Disney animation films, I think this is pretty much one of the ones that'd be near the top of that list for everybody, really, isn't it? It's like it's one of the most iconic looking ones and the ones that people remember the most. But yeah, I'm very much more of the late 80s, 90s Disney kind of guy. That's my era of the films I like Lion King, Aladdin, etc. So I'm not that bothered for this one. But I think, like Dee said, it is kind of... I don't know if a return to form is quite the way I'd put it, but it definitely is certainly a return to the original mold, successful mold of Snow White, definitely.
We've got a while till we're in the 80s, Alex.
I know, yeah. I'm just going to keep struggling.
Hold on. Keep holding.
I'll keep holding. But yeah, I think in terms of the music, which obviously we'll come on to, I think this is definitely a step up from the last few films, for me. More aligned with Snow White. Again on that front, but I actually think the songs are better than Snow White. I wouldn't, you know what? I wouldn't actually. Don't think I'd be going too far in saying that this is the best collection of songs we've had so far.
Really?
For me, yeah, I actually think that. Yeah.
Well, you're wrong, but
well, which film do you think? Maybe Dumbo would be the only other one I can think of that I actually would put on par with this. I don't know which other films.
I don't know. To be like, I'm quite like you, Alex. I think most of the song collections, there's gems in them. But as a ensemble in each film, they're quite poor.
Yeah, maybe. I think there's quite a few memorable ones in this one.
Yeah, that's what.
But more than I think in the previous films we've had like maybe one or two. I think possibly there could be three. in this one. Yeah, that's a step up.
Well, okay, yeah, slow down, Alex, slow down. Yeah, this film's Disney royalty, isn't it? I mean, the Disney castle, it's Prince Charming's castle. I associate this film as the film we watched when it was a raining day at school and they wheeled in the telly and it was always Cinderella. And because our playtime, our breaks were like 20 minutes, you only ever watch 20 minutes of the film. There's parts in this film I really do love, and there's songs I really do love, but it's one I'm not going to rush to watch. And I would probably choose to watch Bambi, Snow White, Dumbo, or Pinocchio before I watch this one. And that's the truth.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a particularly watchable one. Maybe because it's just like, I think because the story is so like well known and well told, you feel like you don't get anything from rewatching it necessarily.
I think that's true. Yeah, it's incredibly vanilla, the story, but at the time, maybe it wasn't. And like we've covered this before, so this is the beginning of the silver era of Disney. So different sort of collections of films are packaged in different eras. So the silver era follows the package era, which was when Disney was basically at the whim of the American government when they, as Diaz said, made terrible films to try and make a little bit of money by making state-sponsored propaganda, basically. And Bambi bookended the golden era of Disney, sort of the original classics. So now we're moving into... They're still going for the same tried and tested way, which is folk tales. A lot of the Disney films, it's old books, folk tales, stories, and hoping that they can just, add a bit of Disney magic and make some money. And this was the first... Well, it's classified as the first huge success that Disney had. They were in incredible amounts of debt because, Pinocchio was a big failure. Bambi was a big failure at the cinema because of World War II. This was the biggest success they had since Snow White, and in a way revolutionized how they made films. Like, this was the first film in which they marketed the full soundtrack within their own company. And I think a lot of the money they earned from this film catapulted them to distributing their own films, because up to this point, and including this film, they're distributed by RKO Pictures, not Disney. They had to basically make it and just give it up to another distribution company, which is what they had a lot of legal battles, I think, in like the 80s and 90s around getting the rights to these songs and films. And I think for some of the songs, they still don't have the rights to, because RKO just holding on to those purse strings. So are we aware of the origins of this story?
I'm not sure. I mean, I was thinking, is it like a Grimm fairy tale? I'm not sure whether it is actually though.
Technically, there is a version that is a Grimm fairy tale, and they added some weird shit.
Well, they'll do that.
Yeah, I think like they basically there's they had like a Cinderella 2, and like Cinderella's getting married and she punishes the stepsisters by having crows fly in and peck out their eyes. So nice things like that.
That would have been a nice change up to this.
But yeah, the original story of Cinderella is believed to go back to ancient Greece. So there's a story of Rhodopis, which is 7 BC, about a Greek slave girl who marries the Prince of Egypt after an eagle steals her sandal, takes it to the prince, drops it on his lap, and he's so mystified that he has to find the owner, and they fall in love. So it's almost 2,000 years old.
Wow.
But the Charles Perrault folktale, which I think is like the 19th century, it added things like, it's called the Little Glass Slipper. It's also known as that. It added the glass slipper. It added the fairy godmother, the pumpkins, the chiming at midnight. So that's seen as the true inspiration for this film. But the actual core of the story is ancient. But yeah, there is a Grimm version, which is just, it's chaotic. Just go and read it, because I can't even do it justice, some of the stuff that goes on in that. As is the case with a lot of Grimm storytales. Grimm storytales? Grimm fairy tales. Moving on to the songs, we've had differing opinions. There's 6 songs in total in this film. When we said we were covering Cinderella, how many could you name off the bat?
I could name one of them and then went, the other one goes like this, and could not say what it was called.
Yeah. Okay, so a nice high marker of 1, Alex. 1.5 we'll give you.
Actually, I think I'm pretty much on the same level as D. I think I remembered a few, and like when I watched it, I recognised most of them.
Sure you did.
But the only one I could name, The only one I could name, well, there was only one I could name, and it's probably the most famous one, I guess. Well, maybe it's not, but it's the one. This might be like a Snow White situation where there's one song where it's probably the big number from the film, but actually it's not the most memorable.
Potentially, yeah. So yeah, I win, because I could name two. Low bar, but I beat it. I recognise the third. The other three are still absent to me. I've listened to them a few times. I rewatched the film a few days ago. Without the notes in front of me, I haven't got a clue what they were. But yes, like I said, this was the first soundtrack to be distributed under the banner of Walt Disney Music Company. They made so much money off selling this. And so obviously the audiences at the time had a draw for it. And I think a lot of the songs are very much of the time. And I guess a lot of the question, and I'm going to ask this for some of them, are they timeless? And so we'll move on with that question lingering in your minds to the first song, which is Cinderella. How creative. So, Cinderella is a song that is featured in the opening credits, sung by Marnie Nixon, which begins our long focus in this film on dreams, Cinderella's dreams, and the Disney dream-making machine that is going to just yam down our throats. There's lots of foreshadowing in this one. What do you think as an opening number?
I guess I should sort of go first here, seeing as on this podcast I have pretty much nailed my colours to the mast when it comes to opening credits songs.
Opening credits. I literally said, ask D about opening credits.
So I think you can tell that I appreciate this opening and its song for what it is. Even if, at this stage, we've covered about 5 or 6 of these Disney ones and they're all the same.
Yeah, which is basically what I wrote.
It's just a book opening, and that's it.
Yeah, and I couldn't say anything other than that either. It's like they're just so similar to each other, aren't they, these opening songs? They sound like it's the same person singing them and everything.
I'm pretty sure Marnie Nixon has done a few. Not in opening credits, just she's a sort of a Disney staple.
Yeah. I mean, the formula works, so I'm not going to discredit it. We all know it's a Disney thing, that's why it was able to be spoofed so easily in Shrek.
Yeah.
Very well, very well. They're short songs, and this is the short song. I kind of just want them to hurry up. I like the visuals they do with the book openings, and it fits in with the folk tale, these old sort of stories, often children's books. But like I say, it's so... Well, it's just not memorable. It really isn't memorable. No one's going to say, oh yeah, do you remember that Cinderella song? Because no, you don't.
What's it called?
Yeah, who's on first?
I had a real nightmare trying to find this one on YouTube.
I did as well. I've written that in my notes. It was so hard to find it because you just type in Cinderella song and it just comes up with every other song other than this one. Yeah. I tried typing in Cinderella song. It's like,
well, you're probably going to get a different song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We can't say anything. If you listeners have something more interesting to say, let us know on Twitter. But you're not going to, either because you don't care or you have nothing else to say, and we'll take the latter. Okay, moving on.
The one thing I did, well, just before we do, one thing I really did enjoy about this song is the last line of the song is, it's Cinderella, Cinderella in the sweetest story you ever told, and it's like that's a bold claim to set out from the very beginning of the film. This is the sweetest story ever told. Enjoy. It's just like why would you even set yourself up like that? I mean, I'm not saying it's not. But...
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's like you can't really operationalize sweetest, so they can get away with it. Like if you say this is the greatest story, it's like whoa, no one's gonna make a list of sweetest films and be like, actually, hang on a second, that's sweeter than that one.
Which one leaves the sweet? Yeah, how do you quantify?
Yeah, basically that's the thing. They've swerved around that just like Carlsberg and Budweiser do quite easily. Moving on to bigger and better things, the second song in Cinderella is A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. So this song, which is sang by Cinderella, voiced beautifully by Eileen Woods, is where she encourages her animal friends to never stop dreaming. Dreams are up again, guys. And the theme continues. I feel like it's supposed to be or at least it's had that effect, a big song. Or at least the first introduction to the beautiful voice of Cinderella. What do you guys think of this one? Because I think this is a beautiful song.
Yeah, so this is the one where I knew the song, but I didn't know. I didn't immediately come to mind. I think similarly to the "Someday My Prince Will Come" song from Snow White, which this is kind of very reminiscent of. I think this is better, and I think this is the first time you hear it's Eileen. What's her name?
Eileen Woods.
Eileen Woods sing, and I think it's quite a breathtaking voice that she has. And I think this is a really nice one. I think this is like, of this kind of song that features in the earlier, the golden and silver era,
He's learning.
is, era of Disney. I think this is probably one of the best ones of this type of song. I mean, I would say it's a want song, just so I can get that in there for D. You can tick that one off the bingo chart. But I think it's a really, really nice song. And she's sung very well.
I'm going to be honest, I honestly forgot this song was from this movie.
What do you think it was from?
Well, as soon as I listened to it, I recognised it from walking around Disneyland Paris, but I didn't really associate it with any film, if I'm being honest. I guess it is similar to One Day My Prince Will Come. I sort of, in my notes, thought it was maybe more thematically similar to When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And to me, it even sounds like it's the same person singing it, which, if my memory serves, I'll just put a question mark next to this. Did Lee Harline sing the song?
Let's say yes.
Then I'm going to take that as a victory.
I honestly can't remember off the top. Yeah. It's a dream song, isn't it? And I think, it was Walt Disney's thing. That's what he wanted Disneyland to be like. That's what he wanted his films to be like. It was the ability to make dreams come true. And I guess, you're comparing two songs that are very much pulling on that theme. The only thing I hate about this song is when I try and sing it. It's too slow. The song is slower than I think it is in my mind. And every time I sing it, I'm too quick. Annoyingly, even more annoyingly, Cinderella was remade a few years ago with Lily James, the live-action remake, yeah? Listen to that version. Yep. It's a step too fast. There needs to be a middle point. Both, It really, really bothers me, because I really, really do like this song. And I read a fact the other day, and it was kind of lovingly teary fact that I found was quite beautiful, which is, so Eileen Woods, in her later years, she suffered from Alzheimer's disease, and during, I guess, the latter parts of that, she couldn't remember that she'd ever played Cinderella, and it was a big thing for her in her life. There's a lot talked about when she first got the job out of, hundreds of people that were auditioned, and she said yes straight away. But obviously, with Alzheimer's disease, she'd forgotten that she played Cinderella. However, the nurses where she lived claimed that she was incredibly comforted when they played the song "A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes to Her." And I love that notion, that kind of, I can build that memory in my mind, or that sort of image in my mind, which is really, really beautiful. And I think that makes me like the song more as well. Just the themes of it, that power of it, because it is quite a comforting song, I think. Just the melody of it, the pacing of it. I just think that's such a really beautiful fact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think as well, like, when we spoke about the Someday My Prince Will Come, I think it was in a non-common time, like it was in 5/4 or 3/4, because it was used in jazz quite a lot.
Yes.
And this sounds very waltzy as well, like 3/4 time. And I wonder whether that kind of adds to that sort of nostalgic factor as well, of like, like the image of her, like, just like listening to this sort of song that, I don't know, just sort of oozes this old-time class kind of thing, and it just makes it feels like quite a warm story, doesn't it? Even though it's the truth.
It is, yeah, and there is something about those songs in that tempo, I think, that really does bring that, even for us of a generation born in the 90s. We're so disconnected from that time period, but like, it's the what's the song? The We'll Meet Again. That you can't help but listen to that and feel quite warm.
Yeah, Vera
Lynn, the Vera Lynn song, and especially when she passed, it was just so beautiful to listen to. And I think this song has that effect because I think it was recommissioned as various jazz songs by different artists. But it was a beautiful song. It was nominated in the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Songs. One of 15 Disney songs that were nominated, but didn't make the final list, which I think is a bit of a shame, especially when you think that Zippity Doo-Dah made it. And
let's not talk about that one.
D, I'm the same as you. Been to Disneyland, some of my greatest memories. There's a heavy focus on the fireworks at Disneyland with this song as well, like the tunes of this song, and it reminds me of those sort of beautiful memories.
Yeah, it's like the end song, isn't it?
It is, yes, it is, and I've got a lot of memories for that, and I think I will always love this song for those reasons. That's my notes. If anyone else wants to say anything.
The only other thing I had in mind was there's a weird moment where she's like in the shower. and it plays like a really weird war
Gargled,
effect
yeah.
over the vocals.
It does.
It's like that was the only part. I didn't
Well,
enjoy
Alex, can you do that
much.
again for me one more time, please? It's like a turkey.
It's like that. Yeah, but that's what it sounds. It's
It
obviously
definitely
the-
doesn't. It definitely doesn't. But I'm glad we have that on recording now. D, can you send me that for my personal collection? Thank you. So the third song from the movie Cinderella is "Sing, Sweet Nightingale." So at first, this song is being warbled off by Drizella during her music lesson, one of the evil stepsisters. And it's distressing enough that Lucifer, the cat, leaves the room only to hear Cinderella's lovely voice singing along while she scrubs the floors of the chateau's entrance hall. So where do we stand on this one? I think this is... Well, once Eileen Wood starts singing it, is a very nice song.
That is by design, I suppose. Once
Yes.
goes to Cinderella, it is working. But I do wish I was one of the songwriters for this. It must have been one of the easiest days in the office ever.
Why do you think?
Like, what could be after the line, "Sing, Sweet Nightingale"? Oh, how about "Sing, Sweet Nightingale"? Ah, that's it, yeah. And what should we write after this? I've cracked it. "Sing, Sweet Nightingale." Then clocked off for lunch.
Another line of coke. Yeah.
I mean, I actually thought it was really impressive that they were able to sing it so out of key. Because I feel like that's actually like a talent.
yeah, it is.
To be able
to
to
isn't
do
it?
that.
Yeah.
Is it the Morecambe and Wise thing?
What's that?
Well, the famous Morecambe and Wise skit where he plays the piano out of order, but
Oh, yes.
the only way you could really do it well is if you knew how to play piano.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, it's kind of like... Or they actually recorded it in the lower key and then played it with the wrong music. That's the only way, because it's so perfectly out of tune, but like just.
Yes.
It's like I can't think how they've done it. But like, yeah, similar thing, I guess, to that piano thing. I mean, I do enjoy the part where there's like a bubble harmony going on in the Cinderella part of this song, where there's like the vocal travels within the Suds. But Suds play a big part in Disney's films, don't they? Especially in the
It sounds like a character. God, Suds is great.
Suds.
Suds is my favourite Disney
Suds.
character. Yeah, the cool
Suds should get his own
uncle.
Wikipedia page.
Hey, Suds.
I'm sure there's a
Suds.
character called Suds. Right.
Yeah.
Jumping on Google now.
It isn't.
Continue.
Suds.
I've got one big fact for this song.
Is it about Suds?
It kind of is, Alex.
Okay.
I mean,
that
I
way.
say it's a fact. It's according to Eileen Woods, and I'll treat that as a fact.
Eileen Suds.
Oh wow! Just you know what? It's so good, Alex. I'm correcting my notes to add it in there. But yeah, according to Eileen Woods, Walt Disney suggested that she layered the harmonies in the "Sing Sweet Nightingale," so like in the Suds part, so she's singing on top of herself. Now she thinks, and she said she looked into this at the time. This was the first time this ever had been done. So the singing harmony with yourself. It's got a name, and annoyingly, I didn't write it down. I don't know if it's dual harmonies or something like that. But yeah, apparently it was the first time it was ever done. So, you record yourself and then you record yourself singing with yourself. Common staple of a lot of songs nowadays. It comes to that like third chorus and you kind of double over it.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the first ever time, February 1950, this was ever done. I'm not going to claim it. Eileen Woods claimed it. And are you going to argue with Eileen Woods?
Nope.
Exactly. Fact. You heard it here second.
Do you want a Suds update?
Go, Suds it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can we have a jingle, D?
No.
Can you just do it with your voice?
Suds.
Wait. I've just got a beer can. I'm trying to think of a way of making some. That was quite good.
Ooh,
That's
like
quite good,
space
wasn't it?
and Yeah,
Go on.
got
Yeah,
that.
just add that, D. There you go.
Cheers. So, in the Disney Channel original movie released on August 29th, 1998, called Disney's Brink, the
Yep.
team of roller skaters are called Pup and Suds.
Up and
That's the
Suds.
only reference I can find to Disney and Suds.
Please tell me it's spelled with a Z.
It's not, no. Sorry. The lead actor in this is Eric Von Detten, better known as Sid from Toy Story, or even better known as the oldest brother from the Complete Savages TV show.
Yes. Because I was thinking when you said Sid, I was like, I'm sure that's the guy from Complete Savages.
Thanks for
Well,
those.
that's great.
Yeah, few minutes, D.
Sud update over. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, there you go.
Not done that in a while.
No, we have not. And I still haven't.
So with that, bell ends part 1 of our look at the songs of Cinderella. As always, part 2 will drop next week, unless you're not listening to this as soon as it's live, in which case, 1, why the hell are you not listening to every episode as soon as it's live? And 2, we still love you, really. So why not hit play on part 2 right now? So, goodbye, everybody. Bye. Yeah.
Apologies if you can hear the dog in the background. She's going mad downstairs.
You might be able to hear a washing machine in my background.
You might be able to hear me heavy breathing like in every episode.
Yes.